Okay, Rich, so what are we playing this week then?
So this week I thought we'd play Deathchase for the ZX Spectrum. So this is an action game released in 1983 for the computer, and it's actually quite a highly rated game as well for the system overall. Have you got any experience with the game at all?
Well, not owning a Spectrum back in the day, I don't have any experience with it at all.
Well, I'm sure as we play this, it will sort of remind you of a famous movie from the same year because there's some blatant copying going on here.
Okay.
Do you want to get to it then?
Yeah, let's go for it.
This is very old as well, by the way. So, like I said, 1983. This is only the Spectrum probably only been out for a little over a year at this stage.
Wow.
So ride your bike forwards, so push forwards. Don't hit any of these trees. And you've got to shoot these two guys basically. So, and the shot actually moves. I don't know if you
The
noticed.
shot moves with my...
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Take that. Tree.
So yeah, the only way you can die in this game is hitting a tree, right? So
I hit him. I'm sure I hit him.
you have to get it spot on.
Yeah,
Got
got
one
him.
of them. You can shoot the helicopters, I think, but you don't need to. It's just extra points.
Okay. I veered it off at the last
Oh.
minute. Yeah, chill out. You said I have to hit it head on. I've got space. Got him.
Got him. Next level, it goes to night time. So as the game progresses, it just basically gets faster and increases the number of trees, effectively. You guess what film this is like from 1983? There's a film out this year where it had people shooting through forests on bikes.
Ah, it's Star Wars.
Yep, that famous scene with them riding through the forest on the speeder bikes, you know. That only happened a few months before this game came out, basically. I actually saw the Return of the Jedi in the cinema at the time, you know.
Did you? 83?
Yep.
How old were you?
I was about 6 months, I think. Something like that.
That does not count.
I would imagine I probably irritated a lot of the rest of the audience in
Well,
the
you
theatre. Hopefully I was asleep the whole time.
I'm hoping you were asleep the whole time.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
bit
come
of a,
on.
bit of a dodgy decision for my mum there, I think, but I don't think she could get a babysitter.
You have to see that, though, didn't you? I haven't lost a single life yet, touch wood.
Yeah, you're doing well. You don't want to touch wood.
Not really.
Avoid wood.
Avoid wood. Yeah, I'm good, I'm good. Got him.
Have you lost a life yet?
Nope.
No?
That's it. Sector 5, day.
Maybe it's just not working. Maybe the
Yeah,
collision
yeah.
detection's
Maybe
not
that's it. Maybe say it. Yeah. Fuck you. Got him.
Ah,
Oh, as if.
you hit one.
That was quite shocking when I hit that. I'm going to take the easy route. And I'm going to circle in.
Oh,
the
wow.
tree moved.
You lost them all fast then.
Yeah, I did.
That's a
My
shame.
hand started. Look at that. My hand is stuck in that position now.
That's his excuse and he's sticking to it.
Oh, Rich, my hand is actually stuck in that position. I cannot move it. Oh,
I've never actually played this with with this joystick before, so
enjoy. You won't trust me.
you go back to the bleeding first level. Yeah, I never actually had this game back in the day, but I did own the C64 port of the Return of the Jedi game, and frankly, I'd much rather have had this, I think. I was never really that big a fan of the, even in the arcades. But I took a bad route there, didn't I?
You did. What? You went through a tree?
No.
Yeah, you
Oh,
said
for
the
God's
collision-
sake.
You did say the collision detection on this was
Yeah,
off.
no, I was joking.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to be alright there. He gives you some leeway. The tree has to be in the middle two sections.
Like that?
I didn't have the speed to actually turn properly there. Damn it. Oh, I lost my life way before you. Yeah.
Way before.
I don't think they had as many trees when you were playing it.
What? The worst excuse I think I've ever heard.
Oh,
Hey, there's a tree.
shit. Oh, crap. I might not get up to where you were.
There's a
Didn't
tree.
give you any trees.
Gave me loads of trees.
Did I just shoot
I
that?
think you did. It's just put you over my points. That one tank gave you like 6,000 points.
Oh, we're only playing it for points. We're not playing it for...
Oh, yes, here we are, yes. Moving the goalposts.
Got him.
Now you've got to do this to beat me.
Right in front of me.
Don't ride in front of him. Right in trees. That's it. In the trees.
Golden
Yes,
bed.
the tree, the tree.
Die!
Don't die. Tree. Come on, trees. No, trees. Do your
Yes.
job, trees.
Yeah.
Look at the space. There's one tree there.
Come on,
Look,
die! Come on, die!
One tree.
Crying out loud.
One tree. I could do this with my eyes closed. Oh, Jeremy sod. My levels are like the Amazon, whereas yours are like Belfair's woods. It's a joke, mate. Absolute joke.
Your levels were like the Amazon after it had been burned down by the Brazilian government.
Not enough trees, Rich.
There's trees every bleeding where.
Ah, you hit the tree! Oh, I'll bit my palm. You hit the tree with your damn bullet then, and it still killed the fucking bastard. Look at that. They're all just pining for you. Yeah, good. Die.
So what level did I get up to? Was it? It was 9, wasn't it?
No, it's 7 night. Your lack of trees are disturbing.
The force is just greater with me, unfortunately, Chris. Yes.
Got it. You're going to have to go hard to the right here now, though. I don't think it's faster. I just think it's put more trees in.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah, you weren't going anywhere there, boy. Yeah, change your mind then. I was going to go through the gap. I was like, nah, don't like that gap. Too small. Take that. Come on, getting through these levels, man.
You're moving through them a bit faster, actually, I think, than you were.
Sector 3.
I think I got up to...
No, that was dumb.
Ooh.
I tried to go for a gap and then I changed my mind last minute. That was dumb.
That was unfortunate.
That was unfortunate. What? There was a big old gap!
You just slammed into a tree.
No, I fucking didn't!
I think you got lucky the first time.
My arse. This is bullshit, man.
I was quite surprised you got to the level you
Shut
did.
up! Full of crap, you know it. That just cheated me. Actually did. No,
That was
I
a
knew,
bit of a
I
risk
knew I
there.
did. No risk at all. That's the kind of gaps I've been working with all.
Oh,
Okay,
Australia.
fuck this shit. It's fucking cheating me.
You've got to be slightly careful with the corners. Oh, you was given a lot more room to the trees before, wasn't you? I mean, you probably saw me doing all of my tight cornering.
If you don't shut up now, I'm going to throw this fucking controller up your arse. I swear to God. It's only day 4. Come on. Come on.
Oh,
Do you know what? I actually, for once, I cannot complain about controller. It's very responsive at the moment. Controller's not screwing me over at all. Yes, that's a good
it
shot.
does move reasonably, actually.
It does, yeah. It's very responsive.
Oh,
Oh, no, I thought I threw there. That sucks. Okay, Rich, so what do you think of the game?
Well, I think this is quite an impressive and somewhat ambitious game, actually, for the year it came out. Because you've got to remember that this is 1983, so this is still very much the year of like the simple arcade games, really. Obviously, Dig Dug we already played for the channel, and Joust as well came out this year, as well as some other games like Battlezone, Pole Position on the Atari, the 2600 versions we're talking about here. You know, so it's still a time when you don't expect the games to be as in-depth, you know. They started moving towards being more adventure aspects in the games a year after this in 1984 for the most part. Even just the perspective of zooming into the screen wasn't quite as sort of common as it is now. You know, most of the games were just 2D affairs for the most part, whereas this has sort of a pseudo 3D perspective with you zooming through there. And I feel like it does somewhat work, you know. You do get that sense of going through a forest. Obviously, it's quite flat, really, isn't it? Like the trees are just sort of flat, but you get this feeling of speed. And when you're weaving in and out of the trees, it's quite exciting. It's quite exhilarating, you know. So, what did you think of the game then?
Well, first of all, you never did any weaving through trees. There was hardly any trees on your screen ever. I don't know what you're talking about. But getting seriously to the matter, it's an extremely exhilarating game. You're right. you getting the hang of those minute little changes you need to make between trees just to make sure you get through, and then also having to think about lining your shot up and maybe curving your shot left or curving your shot right, and just to make sure you hit the guys. You can get quite competitive as well, which is good fun. Getting a higher score, making sure you beat your opponent. The difficulty curve is actually quite good. It does really curve quite nicely. It's not like you're starting off very pedestrian and then you get like stupidly fast straight away. No, you feel that anticipation. You feel that sense of achievement when you get past the level and you get up and up and up. It gets faster and faster and faster, which is actually extremely good.
This is a game that feels rewarding for getting those high scores. When you get them, you feel like you earned them, you know.
You feel like you've done something.
The sound, well, it does what it's supposed to do, really. You wasn't that keen on it, was you?
Well, it was a bit droning to begin with, but when you start concentrating on zipping through the trees, it doesn't really make a difference to you.
No, it doesn't.
And in some ways, it's a little bit handy because you can tell how fast you're going by the sound, because it's like... duh, duh, duh. So then you know, like, oh shit, I've dropped a gear. Go back up again.
Yeah, that is true.
You know? So, kind of helpful. So what are you going to score it then, Rich?
Well, for me, I feel like this game really sort of represents something that's very rare in 1983. You know, I feel like it's quite an impressive and exciting game, and I just can't think of anything else that sort of competes with this on the freneticness and the exhilarating gameplay as much, and the sort of the pseudo 3D in it. When you compare it to games like Pole Position and Battlezone, I would much rather play this game. And those Atari 2600 versions of them came out the same year as this, and they were quite heralded as well themselves. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to actually have to give the game a 5 out of 5. I think this is one of the most impressive games from the early life of the Spectrum, you know. And I think I would highly recommend it for people who are fans of these sort of simplistic arcade style games. So what are you going to score it then?
Well, I think I've got one more thing to add on to what you've just said there, and that is, if I was sitting at home with my sibling, my brother, we would play this to death because we would constantly try to outdo each other. So I think that adds another element, another facet to it. Yeah. For everything you've said, I mean, the graphics are fine for their time. The gameplay's phenomenal for its time. There's not really much like it.
I think it is very good.
It's really not much like it, and I'm quite impressed by it. And the sense of achievement you get when you actually do the levels and get a really high score is actually quite good. So yeah, with all that in mind, I'm going to give it the full 5 too.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Please subscribe to the channel because we're always releasing great new content like this. And we'll see you next week on another game, guys. Take care.
See ya.